Ready? All right. Morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the January 13th, 2020 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. Would you please join me in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board. To my right is our Vice President, Gary Merrill, and to his right is our Administrator, Mike Fromer. To my left is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis, and our clerk this morning is Jennifer Walraven. Let's go ahead.
Resolution number 244, in the matter of approving the electronic records of proceeding from regular meeting held January 9th, 2020. Sorry, Gary.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 244. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We do not have any public comment today, so that brings us to item number 3, resolution number 245, in the matter of approving purchase orders, sending now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CMAPR 0110 and memo transfers in batch number 0110.
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 245. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 246, in the matter of approving travel expense request.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 246. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 247, in the matter of forwarding 2 liquor license requests from Allure Nail Studio LLC to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control with a request for hearings.
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 247. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 248, in the matter of setting the date and time for public hearing number 1 and public hearing number 2 and community development implementation strategy meetings for PY 2020 community development block grant funding.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Morning, Commissioners. These are just the 2 meetings that were required by the state ODSA to have in order to receive the CDBG monies. So these are the dates we picked out. The first meeting, we worked with the City of Delaware, so, and the CDIS meetings, we work with the City of Delaware, so trying to be convenient and appreciative of their time as well.
All right. Vote?
Vote on motion 248. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Exact.
Resolution number 249, in the matter of approving a transfer of funds for job and family services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. Bob Anderson, Job and Family Services. This is a request for transfer of funds, the first one being for our maintenance of efforts with the new funding that the state has provided for children's services, and the second is for operational and mandated share for our public assistance fund.
All right. Vote?
Vote on motion 249. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 2050, in the matter of accepting donations made to the Department of Job and Family Services.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
This is accepting donations around Christmas time. We had 6 donors contribute over $20,000. We were able to provide 100 adults and 250 children with Christmas gifts, clothing, and different items around Christmas.
I notice United Way gave 10,000.
Yes. Yes, great
Yeah.
community. We get a lot of support.
Yeah. And again, some of the others, the families and church and Delaware County Clerk of Courts. I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
They adopted a family this
Yeah,
year.
it's just great. I know we had a bunch already in December that donated a number of things, and this is just great to see this.
Schultz family.
All right. Okay, vote?
Vote on motion 2050. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2051, in the matter of setting the bid date and time to receive bids for the Cheshire Pump Station Improvement Project and the Cheshire Force Main Improvement Project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Morning, Commissioners. Tiffany Mag, Director of Environmental Services. So this is one of the projects that was originally identified in the master plan from 2016. We just wrapped up design and are getting ready to go to bidding and then construction. We actually separated this out as two projects. We have a pump station that'll be sited near the existing pump station, but the existing one will, of course, be demoed because it is past its useful life and it's too small for the future development. And then also a force main project that will extend a couple miles down Old State or Africa Road to its termination at an existing manhole on the south side of Elm Creek. So we request your approval. The engineer's estimate for the pump station project is $2.1 million, and for the force main is $1.96 million, which is in line with the $4 million that we had originally projected back in 2016.
So primarily, as we were talking earlier, this is for expansion in the Sunbury Northgate area primarily, as well as replacing the
Right. It
existing.
really does serve two purposes. This project was needed regardless, but we were able to size it to allow that expansion over towards the Sunbury area with that agreement that we have in place to service that future development.
Okay. And timeline on this, Tiffany, is?
Timeline will be about a year for construction completion, so it should be finished probably towards the end of 2020 or spring 2021.
Okay, very good. All right, vote.
Vote on motion 2051. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thanks.
Resolution number 2052, in the matter of approving plans, specifications, estimate, and setting the bid date and time for the project known as Dell CR 10-CR72 Lackey Old State Cheshire Road intersection improvements.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. As I believe you know, we have been working on this project for some time. The project involves a new single-lane roundabout at the intersection of Old State and Cheshire Road. We are proposing to begin this project in June of this year, and it'll take about 2 months to complete. Unfortunately, we will have to close that intersection, and we recognize that'll be a major disruption to traffic in the area. However, there's really no way to construct the roundabout without some period of closure. Now, what we are proposing is a rather hefty incentive to the contractor to get that work done as quickly as possible, and so the contract does provide for an incentive-disincentive provision to get that work done sooner. But regardless, we expect it'll be closed, the intersection will be closed for about 5 weeks this summer, beginning sometime in June, and then the entire project will be wrapped up by August. This is part of really a series of projects that we'll be doing in that area, particularly across the Cheshire Road corridor, to improve that east-west travel through that area. And another project we'll have going on this summer, this has been coordinated with and will continue to be coordinated with, is a project we received funding through MORPC to pave the shoulders and resurface the Cheshire Road Causeway, as well as there's a big bridge on the Cheshire Road Causeway that we'll put a new bridge deck on that. That bridge is about 50 years old now, and so that deck is worn out. So we're coordinating both of those to be done at the same time, so that gives us an opportunity to save a future closure by doing both of these projects at the same time. So altogether, this is a $1.64 million project. The other project that involves resurfacing on Cheshire Road and Africa Road is another $3 to $4 million that we'll be bringing you plans here in the matter of a few weeks to approve on that. So really a lot of investment in this area, which very much needs it due to the population growth in that area. So happy to answer any questions.
The fire station's located there. I assume they were involved and they're aware that it's going to be closed, and
Yes.
they're good with it?
Yes, and we have been, and again, we'll continue to coordinate with Berlin Township to accommodate the runs on the east side of the lake. So we wish there was a way to avoid the closure. There's just no way to build a roundabout without some period of closure.
Not on the east side of the lake, it'd be south of there as well, if they...
Yes, yes. Fortunately, we have, the Pirate Road will be, they can reach Pirate Road and get around to Old
I
State
have a
that
fire,
way.
though, that just, it's going
Yes.
to take another... So just an observation, make sure that there's been a clear understanding, everybody's on the same page.
Traffic has definitely gotten worse. I was there this morning, as a matter of fact, on Old State in Cheshire, and, you know, just the backups. And even at night, it's even a lot worse.
Yeah, rush hour.
Especially with the, with Berlin High School, I've sat through that 2:30 in the afternoon rush leaving school, and that's, you know, that morning rush and afternoon rush is becoming longer and more significant as the population fills in that area.
I assume part of the reason for the closure during July and into August is
Yes.
because it's not when school's in session. The high school won't be
Absolutely.
having that traffic. Makes sense. Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 2052, Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Resolution number 2053, in the matter of approving right-of-way work permit summary sheet.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
These are just standard utility installation permits. We reviewed these and recommend approval.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 2053, Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Resolution number 2054, in the matter of approving the plat sub-subdivision for North Farm, Section 9, North Star Goldwell Neighborhood, Section 1, and Vinmar Village, Section 4.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
We continue to have a lot of platting activity for single-family lots. These three subdivisions total 116 new lots, and the plats have been approved by regional planning and all the required county agencies. So bring it to you for your approval at this time.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 2054, Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Resolution number 2055, in the matter of approving an owner's agreements for the Pine Section 2, the Pine Section 3, and Graham Point North Orange.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Again, we have a lot of activity going on. These three subdivisions total 124 lots, so this agreement will provide for the street and stormwater construction on those subdivision phases, and these meet all of our standard requirements.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 2055, Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Resolution number 2056, in the matter of establishing a maintenance bond for Evans Farm, Section 1.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
We have recently performed the inspection on Evans Farm Section 1, which includes 142 lots. That subdivision is now ready to go on the one-year developer maintenance period for the streets. And then we'll have another look at those streets at the end of this year to put those on the public system.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 2056, Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Resolution number 2057, in the matter of approving a permit for the use of Delaware County facilities.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Hawes, Director of Communications. We have before you a permit. This is from the Chamber for their Leadership Delaware program. They annually conduct a class up at the Willis Building. This year it'll be on February 12th and 13th, and we recommend your approval.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 2057, Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jane.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2058, in the matter of approving a transfer of appropriations and supplemental appropriations.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
Morning, Commissioners. Brad Lutz, Director of Business Operations Financial Management. Two items before you today. We're moving money in the Permanent Improvement Capital Fund. We're just moving that money from the capital projects to materials and supplies, but it's still related to the projects that you approved as part of the budget in the 401 fund. And then we're doing a supplemental appropriation, actually reducing appropriations for the LEAP program. Karen, fiscal manager, noted that these appropriations were actually greater than what's left on the grant. So obviously we don't want to overspend the grant. So we're reducing these appropriations. So good job for Karen to note that.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 2058, Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
We do have an item for consideration today from Director Resolution number 2059, a resolution of necessity for the purchase of motor vehicles for the use of Delaware County Emergency Medical Services Department.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Jeff Fischel, Director of EMS, Delaware County. Before you use resolution for the purchase of 2 new ambulances and the trade-in of 3 of our older ambulances. Recently, our ambulance committee got together and designed a completely new ambulance that was focused on safety. As you know, CAS has many standards that it requires, and one of those is a safety committee. One of those is a strong focus on safety. So going forward, we decided that we would completely redesign the ambulance with a focus on patient and provider safety. What we ended up finding was we actually went with a new manufacturer as well. We went with a company called Demirs, which is slightly less expensive than the manufacturer we were using before, but we felt the same, if not better quality. And then you're also seeing on the resolution the purchase of the new power load stretcher or cot system. These power load systems are made to withstand Gs that are well beyond those that are actually seen in a typical crash, and therefore are the most safe and most compliant way to build an ambulance in a modern EMS system.
The new cots are very expensive. We're spending, I think, $98,000 on the 2 of them. What have we done in the past with this new type of cot?
The last few ambulances that we've purchased, we've been purchasing the new cots with it as well. The entire system, the entire ambulance fleet is eventually going to go to having those new cots. It meets the CAS safety requirements. It meets KKK safety requirements, which the state of Ohio has not yet adopted. It probably will, because most states in the nation are adopting this federal compliance. And there's only 2 systems out there that even meet KKK compliance, and this is one of them. So in the past, we have been, as we purchase new ambulances, we've been implementing the power cot system in there as well. Eventually, our entire fleet will have them in there. It's become the standard in EMS is to have these power cots. They're not cheap. They do serve their purpose in an ambulance crash, though, and they do reduce worker injuries. It's taking all of the strain off of EMS providers' shoulders or back as they're lifting a patient up into the ambulance or out of an ambulance.
Now, there will be no effort to speed up the replacing of other ambulances until their lifetime is up, correct?
Correct.
I want to make sure that was understood.
Yeah, because we've bought a fair number of ambulances over the last few years.
Yes.
I think 2 a year probably over the last 3 years.
Yeah, last year we had, I believe it was 2 remounts. The year before that, I think we got 1. So
We're gradually, but not slowly, replacing the older ambulances.
correct. The 3 that we are trading in, we do have a vast majority of our fleet that's very old. The 3 that we are trading in, the amount that it would cost to work on those ambulances and get them road ready again would be staggering. Therefore, there's more value just to trade those ambulances in. We do have quite a few ambulances in our fleet where the actual box on the ambulance is a decade or more old. And therefore, the standards that were set forth at that time, as far as safety standards, are outdated as well. It's acceptable to replace those as you go, but as you purchase new ambulances, you have to meet the new safety standards set forth.
I guess my point was, we've replaced 5 in the last 2 years, and how many ambulances, active ambulances, do we have in our fleet? 11?
Say that again?
How many active ambulances do we have in our fleet? 11, I think?
11, yes.
Yeah, so we've replaced almost half in the last 2 years, so that's a good,
Yes,
Chunk.
with this year's purchase, it'll get rid of the ambulances that are giving us the majority of the trouble with as far as maintenance costs. It'll take care of a large chunk of that. We only have a few left that are really giving us issues as far as maintenance that are constantly in the shop.
That's the point I was trying to make, and to kind of reinforce that statement. Those they purchased last year and the year before won't meet the safety criteria that you've outlined, but I'd still like to see those used for their normal life expectancy before they're to replace. That's what I was,
Yeah, absolutely. And those ones that came in the year, last year and the year before, they had those power stretchers in them. They just don't have the new ambulances on.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about the whole,
Correct, yeah. No, that's absolutely what will happen. They'll be used as, to their fullest, and we'll rotate ambulances in as the useful life of our older ones, they meet their useful life.
Okay, all right, we'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 2059. Mr. Merrill?
aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
And that brings us to administrator reports.
All right.
I have nothing to report this morning.
Commissioner Lewis?
Yes, I'd just like to thank our emergency management, Sandy Mackey in particular, with all the windy weather and rain we've had. They were working closely with 911, very early hours of the morning, I know, over the weekend, and Sandy was sending updates too, so just want to thank them for their service.
Yep, this is the time of year when we have weather extremes, so
Yeah, it's really.
it was 70 degrees the other day.
That's
It's
right,
just
yeah,
crazy,
yeah, right,
with
exactly.
high winds.
It's been a very mild winter so
It-
far.
so
Yes,
far,
it has,
yeah.
right. We're all waiting, right.
All right, Commissioner Merrill?
Only have one thing. I received a phone call last Friday afternoon. I've been asked to serve on the Corsa board,
Oh,
so
great.
I am,
Yeah,
you go ahead and say what I'm thinking. Go ahead.
I'd say it's going to be challenging, but
Yeah.
it's good.
I do think that I'm a voice that hopefully that will be helpful to that group, and I did agree to serve.
Good, good. I think that's very good of you to do that. I think you'll
Yes.
be a good representative to that board. That board has had some challenges and some misbehavior and so on, so it'll be good to add you to that group. So, yeah, thanks. That's a very important organization for Delaware County. We
Yeah.
do a lot of insurance through that group. I just had one other thing. I was privileged to attend the Rutherford B. Hayes Scholarship Program ceremony on Friday, and it's for what we call the Paraguay Connection. And for those of you who don't know about Rutherford B. Hayes and Paraguay, there is a background there. In 1878, Rutherford B. Hayes, of course, Delaware's native son and former president, arbitrated a resolution between Paraguay and Argentina over a disputed territory they had been fighting about literally for years. And he awarded this territory to Paraguay, and Paraguay adopted Rutherford B. Hayes as kind of their favorite son, and they've named buildings and roads and cities after our favorite son. So it's just really neat. And the ambassador to Paraguay came to the Rutherford B. Hayes statue unveiling in October, and he and Dr. Jones, president of Wesleyan, struck up a conversation. They decided they would create a scholarship program for Paraguay students to come to Ohio Wesleyan. So we've got this Paraguay connection, which is just really neat.
Can't imagine traveling in the 1800s.
To Paraguay, yeah. There's not a lot of jets flying
Yeah,
to Paraguay.
yeah.
I wonder if Argentina felt the same way about Mr. President Hayes at the time, since they
Yeah,
Came
yeah.
out of
They
Louisiana.
probably weren't naming buildings after President Hayes.
probably not.
So anyway, great news for Ohio Wesleyan, another program to get good international students and into Delaware and Wesleyan. So, but we do have need for executive session.
We do. Resolution number 2060, and the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of employment and compensation of a public employee and public official.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 2060. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
All right, we're in executive session.
motion number 26-1 in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved?
Second.
Oops. Discussion, vote.
Vote on
Grab your
motion
stuff.
2061. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Okay, that is it. We're out of executive session, and with that, we are now adjourned.